Hey y'all, it's the mom of twins plus two today, and somebody didn't want to act right, so he's in the video with us today, and hopefully he'll sit here and be quiet while I tell y'all about heading out of the NICU and what are some things that your baby has to be able to do before he can get out of the NICU, okay? And so since I'm holding him, I don't have my notes, so hopefully I can get through all of them. So one thing mostly they try to do is to get your baby off of oxygen. I know that some people's babies go home and they're still on like very, very low oxygen, but they really try for your baby to be off of the oxygen before they leave the hospital. Also, they have to be apneic free, apneic spell free for 5 days. And so that was the reason that one of them had to stay in the NICU for 5 extra days, because the day they were supposed to go home, he had one that night. And so he had to stay home. And basically an apneic spell is just when they stop breathing in their sleep. They normally bring it back themselves, but this particular time they had to give them physical prompting to get him to start back breathing. And so he had to wait 5 days, and that's just because research shows that if they don't have one excuse me, if they don't have one within 5 days, it's more prone for them not to have another one. So 5 days, and you might hear it called an apneic spell or a Brady spell. It's the same thing, just means they stop breathing. They get a little comfortable, and yeah. So breathing on their own with no oxygen, no apneic spells, feeding all of their feedings through bottle. All their feedings through bottle. And sometimes that can take a little longer, just depends. With the twins, we even started nursing. We started nursing once a day, and then we got up to twice a day, and then they were feeding every 3 hours, and then they turned to ad-lib feeding, which is where they get to feed whenever they want, and then they get to feed how much they want. And so that's kind of gradually how they move them. So they start with 2 bottles a day, 1 on each shift, and then as they fully drink those bottles, they move up to, I think, 3 bottles. It just kind of depends on your baby. Every baby is different, but they try to move them up to 3 bottles, and then 4 bottles, and then all feeds, and then ad-lib. So which means when they ad-lib, they have to take a maximum amount of milk based on their weight. So whatever your baby is up to, they have to take a minimum of that amount to be considered a full bottle without feed. And then they'll take their feeding tubes out once they get to a point where they take all their food by bottle. And I promise you, you'll see the light at the end of the tunnel when you get to that. And then they'll start talking about discharging and making sure you take your discharge classes. And please make sure you get CPR. You don't have to be CPR certified, but that you YouTube a video on how to do infant CPR. Just because I know me, I had a small scare where I had to do it. And so, of course, I'm a teacher, and so I was certified, but then they gave us a review at the discharge class on how to do it, and so I was so thankful for that. So just make sure that you, that hopefully they'll give it to you, just a refresher, but if not, YouTube it, just so you can know how to do it if something ever happens. I hope that never happens and you don't have to do it, but excuse me. Sorry. That you don't have to do it. but it's always great to have it. So just some tips on what to start looking for. I know in the beginning they won't tell you any of what they're working towards, just what's going on, if everything's okay, if they need to do something different. But only once you start getting towards the end, then they'll start talking about what steps, what the babies have to be able to do before they leave, how many pounds they have to be. And so I know for me, that's the only thing people kept asking me, well, how big do they have to get before they leave the hospital? And I'm like, well, I mean, the weight wasn't really the big issue. I mean, they want them to be a decent size, like maybe 4 pounds, but that was like the least of our worries because they had to do this whole other list of things. So just know it's not all about the weight. They have all these other things that they have to be able to accomplish. And don't rush them, because sometimes if you rush them too much, they'll backslide. So they, of course, they have to be out of their isolate and then an open crib where they can keep their own temperature. And so with the twins, they took them out their isolate and they kept their temperature for like a day, and then they had to go back into the isolate. Well, when the nurse talked about it, we had to think about all the things that they did on the same day. So they took them out of their isolate, they took them off of the oxygen, they took their feeding tube out, and so they were doing all of these things all at the same time. So something's gonna lack, and so they backslid and they had to get back into their isolates. And so that's where they say, well, in 24 hours we'll try them out of their isolate again. And I said, well, let's give them a little bit more time so that we're not doing everything all over again at the same time. So, yeah, let's keep them off the oxygen, help them. Let's, then they're feeding, and so we remove their feeding tube. And so let's just keep them in the isolate. And so that way, that's one less thing that they have to do right now. So when they come out of their isolate again, ain't that right, Isaac? They won't have any issues. And so they did, and that was good. And so that's where you have to be an advocate for your child again. Okay, so those are just some things that they have to do. And like I said, every baby is different, and so there may be something different that your baby may have to do. There may be something that your baby doesn't have to do. But that's just an idea as to when things start to happen, you can see them and say, okay, I know we're getting a little step closer. And we're getting a little step closer. But just remember, expect the unexpected too. Because sometimes things change. And where they may be doing great, and then they backslide a few. Just don't get discouraged. Like, what's wrong with my baby? It's okay. Okay? So, those are just a few tips and things you can look for as you get closer to leaving the NICU. And of course, like, the twins now have been out of the NICU for about 2 months. They got out at the end of September. And they're 4 months now, almost 5 months. They spent 57 days. Well, one spent 52 days and the other one spent 57 days in the NICU. So we're working it. We're making it one day at a time. But if you have any questions or you like this video, I hope it helped you. Just leave me some comments in the comments so that I can talk to you. I want to talk to you and hear your stories. I'm hoping this video helped you or gave you some tips on what to do and how to get through your experience. Y'all have a great day. Bye.